Hello Libra, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Libra is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a timeless reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we've got some hermit energy. I feel like this is really not necessarily you pulling away from life or pulling, kind of leaving society, or withdrawing from public life, or isolating or anything like that. I feel like this is really you following your own light. Yeah. I feel like this is you making some really significant changes in your life based on that light. Turning your back on things that are no good for you. Turning your back on things that don't serve your purposes, don't support you, right? Don't have your best interests. Things that are not good for you. Yeah. You're following your divine light. And a lot of the time it does mean that we kind of turn our back on things, Let's put this into some context. It's not always an easy thing to do. It's not always a pleasant thing to do. You have goals. You have a certain intention about your life right now. Look at that 10 of Cups. I think this is what you're searching for. You want your happiness, your version of happiness, your version of the perfect dream life, right? Not somebody else's. So it could be that you're turning your back on people, on interests, hobbies, on thought systems, belief systems, frameworks, paradigms. It could be that you're turning your back on who you thought were friends or family members or relationships generally, or a particular romantic relationship, maybe. There's a 2 of Cups, after all. What you want is true love. What you want is true happiness. You want to find your holy grail and you want to pursue it, right? And because we know that when we find our purpose and we live our purpose, we fulfill our purpose, that's where true healing and happiness comes from. That's why the holy grail in the stories, was it healed the land, it healed all of the ills of the world there. We have an Ace of Swords. There's clarity about things. You had some sort of realization, some sort of an epiphany or something, right? Something kind of is guiding you. This really is your inner light. This is what the Hermit is following, that truth, that sword of yours that has your word written on it, your will, your absolute truth, right? And so it gives us the kind of discernment that we need to say no to things, right? To say no to anything that is not fulfilling our purposeful life, okay? Now let's remember that our purpose is not what we're doing, but how and why. Okay. Now we've got the Knight of Wands. The world is going to react to you in this kind of way. The world's going to freak out, right? Your friends, your family, your whatever, your boss, even the Hierophant here. Some people are going to freak out, but we've got some good fire energy over here. Nice. The Knight of Wands is fire on fire, very impulsive action. This is somebody kind of running after you saying, where are you going? Where are you going? Don't leave. But you're kind of going walkabout. You're going hermit mode, But hermit mode, again, it's not an antisocial energy. No, it's following our own light. And it may seem antisocial. I just don't want to be social with you. I'm sorry. Okay. And I joke, but it's true. And we don't have to. The Hermit is you choosing who or what to engage with, who or what to not engage with, and it's your right to do so. But the world is going to freak out. People are going to chase you down in the streets. Not really. But, it's going to make people kind of frantic, right? It's going to just upset, like if there's a bunch of ants on the ground. I don't know why Spirit's showing me ants. But if there's a bunch of ants on the ground and one of them happens to get disturbed, let's say, the whole colony of ants just start going around it, just scurrying everywhere in circles. It just upsets the whole thing, I don't know why Spirit's showing me ants. Did you have ants in your house or something recently? Or I feel like there's a reason why I got that particular image. But that's kind of the way the world is reacting to you because of all of these really, really unbelievable and amazing changes that you're making. Yeah. And I think it's happening. There's a lot of different areas. It's all centered around the water energy. Okay, it's all centered around your particular version of your dream life, of your best life. What is a happy life to you? What do you want in life? Well, you're off on this path to find the Holy Grail. Okay, and that's requiring a lot of discernment. And you're going this way to follow your dreams, follow your goals, follow your bliss. And sometimes the world's going to react to you in a bit of a frantic way. It's going to upset the balance of things, and you're kind of disturbing the status quo. And the world's going to react to you this way because the world wants you to just be kind of a happy and quiet part of the whole. Yeah. Which is still what you're looking for, though. Let's not misinterpret this. We've got the Six of Pentacles up at the top. You want to be part of something. But you want to be part of something that means something. And what means something to all those people doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to you. And that's more than okay. It's the way it freaking should be, right? So you are looking for wholeness. You are looking for your people. You are looking for where you belong in the world. And that's why you have to make these changes. And that's the way things should be for all of us, right? You're an inspiration, I gotta say. We're going to select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here. We're going to put Tiny Bob Ross right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, all right? But, it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during this program you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put a prediction down in the comments. I think we should do it together to exercise our intuition. It never hurts, right? And it might be fun. You might surprise yourself. Let's take a look around the room. What do we see from major arcana? Well, we've got our hermit. We've got our decision to make a lot of these changes in our lives. To start really basing all of our choices on our one true love, right? Our purposeful life, what we view as our dream life, as our satisfaction, our happiness, where we belong, what we want to experience of the world, what our will is. Okay, we've got the hermit, we've got the art or temperance card and the Hierophant. The Hierophant is in the environment, okay? I love it when the Hierophant shows up over here. Because in some ways, this card is reminding us that the world has its own agenda. And other people in your life, everything in your environment has its own will, its own consciousness, its own agenda. And so when the world or our friends or our family or a particular group or whatever the frantic kind of energy here is with the Knight of Wands, they have their own agenda, okay? They may try to convince you that your agenda should be the same as theirs. And that's kind of the fixed energy of the Hierophant. The Hierophant is kind of the sacred person, right? And the sacred person is kind of, in some ways, telling you what you should find sacred, what should be sacred to you. See, there's a relationship between the position of the environment here and then what's within you here. Your quest, right? Your search for the Holy Grail, your search for meaning, your search for spiritual experience, your search for love and union and all that stuff. The Hierophant is all of those elements of your environment that are telling you what this should be. But how do they know? It's none of their business. Get out of here. It's just that kind of system that's set up that tries to tell us what to value. Okay? And it's everything from friends, family, culture, TV, all this stuff. Trying to tell us what is important to us. But you are turning your back, so you've got your back turned to the Hierophant too. You see that? Because you're not taking anybody else's word for it. You're going to go find out for yourself. And yeah, maybe you'll discover that a lot of what you want, a lot of what you value in life is the same as what these people value back there. And if that's the case, well then there's harmony there. And that's beautiful stuff. This Six of Pentacles is really, that's what we want. But you've got to discover that for yourself. So there might be a return to this group, maybe this, friends, family, all the different things. Once you realize on your own that you value the same things, well then I can come back here and we can all value it together, right? My cat's howling in the distance there. He thinks maybe I'm doing a reading for him, which maybe I am. He might be a Libra. I'm not actually sure. My wife would know, what his birthday is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's see. So we have our major arcana. The Temperance card, I think, is important because we don't want to rage against this system. We don't want to rage against the machine. We have to have a little bit of tact, a little bit of strategy. It's an art. It's a delicate process. We're trying to find our own tastes in a way, right? And that's your general energy right now. This is kind of a experimentation. I love the word experiment because this is not an energy that says, I know all the answers, This is a card that says, I want to go find out what the truth is. I want to find out what I like. How do you know? And, my wife and we've got a almost 4-year-old daughter. And she told me something the other day that I thought was very profound, and I think she learned it in her preschool class. But she said, we can't say we don't like something until we try it at least once. I said, yeah, that's true, and I like that. There's some nuance there. Some things we know we're not going to like, so we know not to even try it once, like jumping into a volcano or something, right? But generally, I like that sentiment because it advocates experimentation and courage and bravery and trying things out for yourself, trying things firsthand, and not listening to the Hierophant, that fixed wisdom of the world that just says, that is good, that is bad. We avoid that, we go after that stuff in life, Okay, maybe you're right, but I want to find out. It's like somebody saying, oh, you're not going to like that food over there. That food over there, that's the one that you're going to like. Let me find out. Maybe I'll eat that and it'll be nasty and I won't ever want to eat it again, but at least I know that firsthand, And I think that really is part of this art or temperance card. It's the art of life, the art of you, the art of Libra, the art of living, right? And it's experimentation, and that's what the art of life is. Finding out, experimenting. Do I like a little bit more pepper on my plate or a little bit less? Do I like a little bit of, Italian seasoning or something? Or a little bit less, or do I not like it at all? We have to kind of know that about ourselves, and it really requires us to make a lot of changes in our life. Primarily, who we listen to, and to go deeper than that, it's not even about who we listen to presently, but who we've ever listened to, the things that we've always been taught. So you're changing not just your physical everyday life, saying, well, I'm going to go experiment with different jobs, different career options, different courses of study, different people, different landscapes, different environments, You're experimenting with different things to see what you like. You're making a lot of changes, But we're also trying to evaluate those things that we've always believed, those things that we've always thought were good and evil, from millions of years ago, from thousands at least, right? Or at least from when we were a kid, things that we grew up kind of accepting as being true, right? And so I think there's a lot of experimentation going on with you. And I think some of it is kind of in a new direction for you, things that you never thought you would like. Let's go try it, Let's go see how it works. At least I can say, yep, nope, don't like it. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of that kind of going on with you right now. And the 5, we got a 5 of Wands up here in the corner. It's not always an easy process. It's sometimes a struggle for us to not go back to what is fixed and familiar. We like let's be honest, we like things already being made and prepared for us. It makes things so much easier. If I had to, if any of us, I think, if we had to really seriously make everything that we use, if I had to make everything in this studio right now, I would never, ever get to read tarot, right? If I had to make all of these cards, that I can maybe do. They wouldn't look as nice. But I couldn't make the lights or the cameras. I don't know how to do that stuff, So we have to sometimes accept what other people say is a good one, I don't have time to test out a whole bunch of different cameras or microphones even. I kind of watched YouTube and did some research, and what other people kind of said, there's a consensus, of what was good. And I tried it, and I said, it seems good. I don't know, I'm not an expert, I'm not a sound engineer. I had to learn a little bit about it, though. And I think that is at least part of this experimentation. We can take the theory of somebody else. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, I guess is what I'm saying. We can take the theory of someone else, and we can see if it's something that we agree with. If it's something, my iPhone thought I was talking to it. If you just heard that little there is a compromise that's always happening. We can never fully get away from any of that stuff. So the Hierophant's always necessary, always here. It's always in the environment, right? There's always some sort of something around us that's telling us what is worthy of our attention. But you're trying to make changes. You're trying to say, okay, I'll take that and I will flip it on its head and do something drastically different, right? So I think you're doing a lot of flipping of the script right now. Yeah. And with the 5 here, it's not always easy. We would very much enjoy just to go back to where it's been comfortable, At the same time, I feel like you're learning so much about yourself and so much about what you want in the world and what you appreciate of the world. You're learning what things you do want to build on your own and what things it's just better to buy it ready-made, I'm really good at making tortillas. Sometimes it's just easier to buy them, the ones I buy are totally fine, Sometimes we have to pick and choose. And it doesn't mean that there's a value judgment there. Sometimes it's just a matter of convenience. And I'm using these silly things as examples, like food and stuff like that. Mostly food. Or my metaphors are mostly food related. But I think it applies to everything. It applies to what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about spirit, what we believe about relationships and how we're supposed to, behave in a relationship, or how we're supposed to feel about things, about people, And so with the 2 of Cups underneath everything, I think you're really making a lot of changes in terms of what you love, what you're committing yourself to. What is your quest? What is your true love? What are you seeking in life? And you're making sure that this is something that you believe in. And maybe it's the same thing that, has been told to you or taught to you. Maybe not. But that's what we have to find out. And that's the sword of discernment, to make sure that you're living by your will and not anything else's, anybody else's. Make sure you're thinking for yourself, really, And really, let's remind ourselves that the goal is harmony. The goal is to live in a symbiotic relationship with the world around us. We're not looking to be literal hermits up on a mountaintop, making our own clothes and that sort of thing. I mean, maybe we do. Maybe we do want that. As long as it's you wanting that and there's not this feeling of just having to escape from the world. Because see, every card has light and shadow. And the shadow side of the hermit is really an antisocial rejection of the world. That we feel like we're an outcast of the world. And maybe sometimes we have to be an outcast for a little while to figure out what we like, but then there's the return from the quest, right? Where we kind of reintegrate with the world around us because we are striving for harmony and we do want our very best dream life. And to have this, we have to also have some sort of harmony. We have to also kind of get along, because I think that is kind of a fundamental part of what would be this happy and satisfied life. Yeah. And even if it's just connection with a small group of people, like-minded individuals, or, finding people that want to kind of live the same way you live or that have similar interests, we all need some sort of connection. No one is truly an island. Yeah. And I think part of the Five of Wands is talking about that too. I mean, because we could get a little frustrated and angry with the world. And when we get frustrated and angry, we tend to want to push things further away. And so we have to be aware of this. We have to know how hard to push and when not to really push. We don't have to just by default, just on principle, reject everything or everyone. It's not that kind of energy. Sometimes we have to just accept what the world gives us or what the consensus is. All right, I'm not going to fight against it. It's okay. This is the paradigm in which we live. Some aspects of it, it's just not worth the fight. Okay? Because there are bigger things for you to discover. The final card up here is the Eight of Wands. I think there is a sense of urgency about this for you. I think that you really have a lot of change has really been on your mind lately. I'm almost going to predict that this is going to be the Death card or the Tower card or even the Moon card as this kind of, big change happening. Spirit's telling me that you recently recovered from kind of a medical thing, or there was like a health issue that was that kind of scared you recently. I think you're okay, right? But it was an eye opener or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if it was you or somebody that you knew. Yeah. Spirit's showing me that there's a scar. I think it's behind your ear or something. Or maybe it's somewhere else, but it's kind of toward the back of your head there. There's a scar, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what kind of career you've been in. Spirit's showing me what seems to me as some kind of a first responder kind of energy. I don't know what it is, but you're the first one to get there. I don't know what that means. You're first in line, or you're on the front line, or you're the first responder. Maybe you're in EMS, maybe you're in kind of fire, military, law enforcement, something like. But you're like the first one that gets there. So you're the one that usually like really kind of jumps into the fire for people. Yeah. And I wonder if that maybe is a metaphor for you just kind of always giving in to what other people need or being there to provide what other people need. And now it's kind of like we're turning our back. Now we're saying, I got to go take care of my stuff. Maybe it is kind of, maybe not as a profession, maybe generally in life, you're kind of the caregiver. You're the one that takes care of everybody. Right? Maybe in an emotional way. Right? Maybe you're the one that people always go to for answers. I kind of feel like you're sought out for your advice and for your wisdom. Yeah. And so in some ways it kind of is now that you are going hermit, you are going walkabout, you are going up to the top of the mountain to live, in the snowy peaks. And if they want something from you, well, they can hike up the mountain and come find you, right? That you're not at their beck and call or something like that, right? That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling now. There is this kind of fresh start coming. There is this realization that you're constant. It's not an enlightenment, it's an enlightening. It's something that's continually happening for you. And things are getting more and more clear, more and more certain, and yet you're feeling more and more calm. And it's kind of like the light is dawning, but your path is being highlighted more and more. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the sun is rising, so the land is becoming well illumined. But you have a lamp or a flashlight that's even brighter than the sun. So even in the bright daylight, you still have a beam of light shining in front of you, right? And how strong that light would have to be, right? So it's kind of like you're able to perceive what's really going on in the world around you, and that's helping you to perceive what your particular path through that jungle is. So a lot of really amazing changes are happening in your life. Let's look at that mystery card. Now, I'm really thinking that this is that either it could be the sun, it could be the tower, the moon, it could be the eon, or the judgment card. I'm kind of thinking judgment more than anything now. But if you have a prediction, put it down in the comments, yeah? Let's see what we have. Oh, it's a King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles sometimes is someone that is not able to move, or somebody that feels trapped. This is somebody that's kind of being forced to stay in their seat. It's kind of like you want to get up and move about, but life, right, the world, the society, that sort of thing, has just kind of grown over you and wrapped you up and is holding you in place. It's like it won't let you leave, right? And that's kind of what I feel with the King of Pentacles, somebody who's fixed in their seat here to the point where the world has grown. It looks like the vines and everything have kind of grown over that person. It's kind of tying them to the chair. It sounds like a kind of weird horror movie, right? I actually think there was one made that was like that. And so I think that this is your feeling of almost being suffocated by the world, and we have to make these changes. We have to get away from things so we can breathe. Ace of Swords, right? Free and easy breath. This is spirit, but this is breath, right? It is pneuma. It is it's a connection there with the clarity and the certainty, and with this idea of taking a fresh breath. But we feel kind of claustrophobic in this world, right? And maybe it's just too much stimulation from the world. Maybe it is too much, too many choices, but not really choices, right? It's like there's a million things to choose from, but they're all the same, right? And it's kind of this is a weird existential kind of awakening, and it's sometimes can be scary. And I think it really literally is saying you've got to get up and go and take a breath of fresh air somewhere. Go sit in the silence on the top of a hill or something, or get out into nature and get away from all the lights and sounds and the beeps and bells and whistles and stuff. Because it feels to me like the world is kind of, and this is what happens. We get into the world and the world doesn't want to let us go. Yeah. And that's fine. We're part of the world, and we want to be part of the world. We've got the Six of Pentacles, but I need to get away from you for a minute to feel like I'm free, to kind of get a sense of what I want. And then I'll choose how and when and where to come back to the world, right? The return journey of the hero, right? But this is where, the home, the world doesn't want you to leave and is trying to hold you back, trying to get you to stay. And that's kind of, I think that's the villain here is kind of that Hierophant, Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Libra every Wednesday and Saturday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, Libra, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Let me know how you're doing. Okay. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.